It's August 19th, so we are in Proverbs chapter 19. We're going to look at just one verse, verse 1. If you are going through a family Bible study and you're using Proverbs for your family, this is going to give you a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the news pretty much all the time that you could apply this to. This is going to affect everyday life decisions and what we choose as far as how we live our physical, worldly lives. So let's read it, and then we'll go through what it's talking about and see what God is saying. So Proverbs chapter 19 says, "Better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool." All right, so better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. And the idea, based on the juxtaposition here, the opposites, is that the crooked person is rich, right? So it's better to be honest and poor than crooked and wealthy or powerful. Because in order to be crooked, you have to be a fool. You kind of see that. The one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. This isn't he's crooked in speech or a fool, but these things go together. So a lot of people kind of bemoan the fact that they do the right thing, and because they do the right thing, they don't get worldly benefits. For example, U.S. law says that it is illegal to bribe foreign government officials. It's against the law. You will go to federal prison for bribing foreign government officials. Most of the rest of the world does international business through bribery. Now they're going to call it a tip. Right? You go through customs or wherever, or you're dealing with business partners across the pond, and they ask for a tip. They're asking you to bribe them. Well, if you're going to follow the law, you're going to say, no, I can't do that. That means that other people might get international business. Other people might get their product to market faster. There might be some severe consequences for that. That's what we have to deal with, right? Now, that's an example that probably doesn't apply to too many people, but you can see that that would have a real cost. In everyday life, at work, if somebody asks you a question and you can lie and advance in the company or tell the truth and get punished, we tell the truth. It's better to be known for somebody who tells to be someone who tells the truth, to have that kind of reputation, than to be successful in a worldly way. And so you begin to look at things like politics. I don't know very many politicians who have a reputation for telling the truth. That's because telling the truth doesn't necessarily get you elected when it comes to politics. And the sad thing is, it seems like most people don't care that politicians lie. Now, they say they do, but if you care that they lie, why do they keep getting elected? And so when we look at the nuts and bolts, the reality on the ground, people who lie get elected to public office. People who lie wind up in the White House. That is not a political commentary on anybody who's been in the White House in the past 200 and something years. It's just that people who lie wind up succeeding politically. And so if you tell the truth, you're probably not going to do too well as a politician. What does that mean? It means be happy that your citizenship is in heaven and not in the United States, or in Great Britain, or in India, or in any other country on the face of the earth. Your citizenship is in heaven. And so if you tell the truth and you suffer from a worldly perspective, if you tell the truth and you lose worldly treasure, know that you have stored up treasure in a place where moth and rust do not destroy, where thieves do not break in and steal, but you have stored up treasure in heaven. And Jesus says, where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. And so if you are storing up spiritual treasure, that's where your heart is. And so not only is this good for your reputation, to be known as somebody who walks in integrity, it's good for your soul. It's good for your spiritual well-being to be somebody who tells the truth, to be somebody who does what is right. Because ultimately, being successful in this world, having a lot of money or power or prestige, none of that matters. On the last day when you stand before God, your eternal destiny is not decided by your bank account. Your eternal destiny is not decided by your standing in some kind of political organization or company. Your eternal destiny is decided alone based on where your how much spiritual treasure you have, right? Where your heart was. Did you serve God with all your heart, your strength, your soul, your mind? And if you didn't, you're probably not going to like the answer that you get from the judgment on that last day. So let's remember this. It's better to be poor and upright than it is to be crooked and a fool. right? So a spiritual treasure is more valuable than earthly treasure. That's a hard lesson to learn. It's hard to swallow, but it will be good for us in the long term to remember that we're not living for this place. We're living for an eternal home in heaven with our God and our Father. I hope this is helpful. I hope it gives you a lot to talk about in your Bible studies on your own or in groups. And may God bless us all as we continue to grow and become more like Him in every way.